Could a new economic superpower really be the key to moving away from fossil fuels globally? I mean, that sounds like a bold claim, doesn't it?
Well, Mark Hertzgaard and Kyle Pope, they touch on this idea that the ongoing Iran war is also, in a way, a climate war. It really highlights the risks of relying on fossil fuels with all the disruptions to oil and gas shipments.
So the war is actually accelerating the urgency of this discussion rather than distracting from it? That's quite a perspective.
Right, because the war's emissions from jets and missiles, on top of everything, push us closer to that point of no return for the climate. It just underscores the need for a course correction.
Okay, so given that, what's this ray of hope you mentioned earlier about a new superpower then? Because that sounds really important for a course correction.
It's about how Saudi Arabia led petrostates in vetoing a fossil fuel roadmap at the UN COP30 summit. 85 countries were on the losing end of that, but they might be able to turn things around now.
So this new conference in Colombia then, is it trying to address that specific issue from COP30?
Exactly. The first international conference on the just transition away from fossil fuels will operate by majority rule, not consensus. This prevents a few countries from blocking progress, unlike at COP30.
That's a significant change. And you mentioned economics, not just politics, will be at the core here, right? How does that factor into this superpower idea?
The combined GNP of those 85 countries, including major economies like Germany, the UK, France, Spain, Brazil, and Mexico, totals $33.3 trillion. That's larger than the US's $30.6 trillion GNP and China's $19.4 trillion.
Wow, that's a lot of economic leverage. If California's $4.1 trillion GDP is added, it jumps to $37.4 trillion, almost rivaling the combined GDP of the US and China.
This economic power could send shockwaves through financial markets globally. If this coalition outlines a credible roadmap, it would make new investments in fossil fuels look financially risky, creating stranded assets.
So it's about shifting the smart money away from fossil fuels, using economic incentives rather than just political agreements. That's a truly powerful approach.
It's also important that 80–89% of people want stronger climate action. This conference is an opportunity to really shift the narrative and start that urgent task of phasing out fossil fuels.
That's a fantastic note to end on. It truly shows that the public desire for change is strong, and now there's an economic force potentially backing it up.